Now today I'm going to do a review / overview of the Cobalt8 by Modal Electronics. Now this beautiful synth here has been made possible by all you lot who have been supporting my new album on Bandcamp. Yes, that's right, I put everything back into my passions and my projects, and I ended up getting myself one of these. So I thought to myself, instead of just simply using it, I will review it just in case those of you out there or have seen it and just want to know what it's like, so forth. So, you know, I'll do my take on this. By the way, if you've not watched the unboxing video of this and a few other things that I've been getting in the previous video, I've linked it in the description below, or the letter I, just here. So you get a wall adapter with it, and you also get a USB cable with it. Now, just to show you what it has at the back, the ports and all, we have here headphones, or right or left mono. These are instrument sockets, expression pedal, sustain pedal, audio in, sync out, sync in, MIDI out, MIDI in, USB MIDI, the DC power in, and also the power switch. I have to say, it is built absolutely solid. Everything is metal except the keys, of course. The sides, back. The bottom feels metal, actually. Yes, it is. The bottom is metal, the top is metal, and you know, these dials are actually a good quality plastic. I like them. Overall, the thing just looks so beautiful. You know, it's just absolutely solid. I really love this. Aesthetically, you know, I think it's what attracted to me, but then when I heard it, what it can do and so forth, I was just, yeah. Just when I said I'm not going to end up with any more, I end up with this Cobalt8 sitting in my lap at the moment. Right, so first things first about this. One thing which I'll say I do not like, or slightly concerns me, is I've just got my external speakers here, which are not connected to the mains. They're just battery powered. You know, they're the Creative Sound Blaster or old one. And if you, there's so much noise on there if you connect it via the headphone socket. The buzzing noise switches off, however, the moment you turn it on. And then you can obviously, you know, it's fine then. But the moment you turn it off, why is that? Is this just my unit, or does Cobalt just actually, all the units do this? If you're from Modal Electronics themselves, please explain this to me, because it is a little annoying. Connecting it to the instrument cable outputs, it doesn't do it. You can just, you know, get an adapter for the line outputs, you know, and then you can just use them instead, you know. But if you want to use headphones, I don't know what it's like with headphones. Actually, I'm going to get a pair of headphones and try it, because it might just do that on active speaker systems and not like, you know, passive like headphones. So just tested it with my monitor headphones. They're not active and it doesn't hum or buzz or anything. However, when you connect the active speakers in here, it will create a horrible buzz when you've turned them off. So those of you who have active headphones, like for example wireless ones or so forth, you may find that issue. But you know something, once you turn it on, it's fine. Right, so literally hours after getting this, I again got used to it. You know, when you know your way around synthesis, or somewhat know your way around synthesis like I do, then you know you'll pick it up. It's actually fairly, you know, once you get used to the interface and how things are set out, you know, and the way all these, everyone calls them knobs, I'm gonna call them dials for the sake of, I mean, there seems to be enough innuendos around on my channel, unintentionally, so you know, I'm just gonna call them dials, okay? When you realize how the dials are actually set out, then you'll know what's going on. Basically here. Now, unlike the Reface CS which you've seen around on my channel. This actually has a few layers of things. So this has 3 LFOs here. Now this first LFO here, the button LFO, and there's 2 here. The second is here. The third one you have to access by pressing shift, and once you've pressed that, then you can see the shift in this light blue color. Now the shift is basically a latching shift on this, which is good. It makes things much easier. You can actually use it as a normal shift if you just like keep your finger on shift here and click something that you need shift, it'll turn off. So you can just use it as a normal one, but just, I just use it as a latching one because it's much easier. So you have 3 LFOs that you can assign to anything, any one of these. Now you've got 2 sets of oscillators here. So you've got this here, algorithm 1, and algorithm 1 AB, the parameters of algorithm 1. You've got algorithm 2 here, AB, the parameters of algorithm 2 here, and then you have a crossfader, so you can mix between them, as you can see there, what's happening on the screen. That's one cool thing about this. I love this screen, so you can see what's going on. So you can decide which one, or how much of algorithm 1 to mix, and 2 is just literally like a crossfader you find in your DJ mixer, if you're into DJing. And you can create 2 algorithms separately. This is how you can layer sounds here. You can actually create 2 different type of waveforms. I'll demonstrate this in a short while. And you can just like really get creative with this. It's I love just creating sounds. I've just been having fun doing that. Now this is your the standard envelope generator, ASDR. So attack, decay, sustain, release, and this is the depth of it. You can adjust as well. Now this goes for 3. You have 1 for amplitude, 1 for mod, and 1 for filter. This is an arpeggiator which you can program yourself. It does come with sorry, press the bottom one. It does come with its own preset patterns, but you can actually program it yourself, and it's really easy. Now to layer on top of that, obviously I'll tell you how you do it later on. Now to layer on top of that, finally you have the effects here. Now the effects are just like on the CS. You have the reverb, you have the flanger, phaser, so forth, and that's your effects basically. And you can have 3 layered effects here. Like in the CS you just had 1, you have 3 here. That's your standard volume control. Now you have do low pass filter, high pass, band pass, so forth, and this is the cutoff. So you can really mess with it. You can morph, and you can have a notch filter even. You can there's different type of filters here. Again, I'll look through that. And all this, I got all this within the first day, within hours again of messing around with it, and it's quite intuitive, and I like that. And just like the polygon tracker, I really got on well with this. Right, with regards to patches, you have 500 slots in here. 300 have been used up. You have factory setup patches there. So there's 300 actually patches already there for you to kind of use. But then you have 200 empty. That you can actually save your patches, your own created patches onto. So 200 is quite a bit. And not only that, if you don't like any patches, the factory setup patches, then you can just wipe over them too. So literally you do have 500 patches to write over if you do want it. I don't think I'm going to fill 200 patches up anytime soon, so I don't need to kind of erase any. Okay, so patch number 0, which is riser pad, ATSQ. It's actually beautiful. It's really beautiful. The sound is just it's absolutely amazing. I'm gonna connect this to your ears at some point and you'll see what I mean. It's really like full sound. I really love it. show you patches all day and all night long, so you know, let's get down to the actual creation of the sounds themselves. So let's take it to patch 300. The first one that is empty, at least. By the way, it's a lot of patches to kind of like go through, as in like to, if you want to find a patch all the way. So if you press shift, you can increment them in hundreds. So if you know, you have 273. I want to get to 300, so I'll just take it to 273. Take off shift and just, you'll have the init patch, initial patch. And that is like just like a sound, just like a basic sound. You'll have heard this when I first started on the Reface DX synthesizing. It's just the sound you begin with. It's just like your sculpting clay. You sculpt it into a certain shape that you like. You're doing exactly the same thing with sound here. You start off with a block and then you just sculpt, you know, the curves, the everything, how exactly you want it to look, or in this case, sound. So let's start off in this envelope generator section here. This attack, decay, sustain, and release one, and also you have depth. Now this is the, you know, the ASDR, also known as. What I want to do is select it to amplitude first. Let's mess with that. So we have our basic sound. So I want to make this like a pluck sound. So you see here what's going on the screen. Alright, so the more you increase the attack, the more, you know, you'll see what's happening here, and you'll hear in the sound as well. It takes longer and longer for the sound to start off. So it depends what kind of a sound you want. Do you want like a sound that fades in? Or do you want a sharp sound, as in something that starts abruptly? For now, I want something that starts abruptly. Now you have, you know, just take the sustain down. Now you have decay. Now the decay here is, see that, it's just like a sharp sound. Let's put the sustain down to like accentuate the effect. So that if you want it to sound more plucky, you have to take the decay down. I don't want it to be too harsh. So just like that'll do. Now the sustain is, I actually do explain all this in my Yamaha Reface DX review, which I will link in the description below. Also the letter I here for you to watch later on. So now release is how much it lingers after you've let go of the key. If you take it all the way up and you press a key, it takes a long while for it to kind of, so you can make it sharp. Or you can make it just like a little, now we've generated our sound here, but we want to do more with it. It sounds nice and pleasant, but let's add some character to it. You can make it sound like an airport tannoy. So what we've done here, you can do on, you know, all synthesizers, of course. The basic sound you can do on the CS, DX, whatever else, Amiga, C64. Now this is where things get quite interesting. Let's look at the oscillators here. You have oscillator 1 and you have oscillator 2. So these three, oscillator 1, oscillator 2, and this is a crossfade between them. Yeah? So just remember that bit. Now this is where you select your waveform. What waveform you want, as in like sine wave, sawtooth, square wave, triangle, so forth. So this doesn't do just those four, it goes in between. So that's square. Goes in the triangle, then that morphs into a sine. So they morph into each other. The algorithm here spread saw. have different algorithms here. You can see here, you can adjust the parameters of it. Now, you can add just dynamic. Now it's your choice, you can leave this as it is, or you can assign it to a low frequency oscillator here. Now what a low frequency oscillator is, it's basically an oscillator which goes at such a low frequency, obviously way below hearing range. So it's like you can speed it up and make it go slow or fast as much as you want. Now the reason for that is you can assign it to different functions. So you can have basically, if you want a fixed sound like that, you don't need a low frequency oscillator. Now if you want your sound to be moving up and down like this, you need a low frequency oscillator. I'm acting as a low frequency oscillator, basically. But you can have that done automatically for you by using a low frequency oscillator. So what we do is we select LFO1 and it's asking to assign. Then we just turn this and it's assigned to this. Can you hear it? It's already doing it. Now you press this button because you've already selected. So you fix that now. Now, once you turn it off, change the rates. So you can make it go as fast as you want, and as slow as you want. It can go as deep as you want. So that's oscillator 1 sorted, right? Now let's, with oscillator 2, you can see this. So you have oscillator 1 here, right? The second one is just as normal. It's the sound you start with. So you wanna you can actually mess with it to the point where I add a bit of detune. Make it sound quite accordion-like. Now it'll start detuning up to the value 64, and then it'll start latching onto the harmonics of the sound, because it'll realize that it doesn't sound musical after 64, value 64, so it'll start. You can actually assign the LFO to either one of these. I'm actually curious to assign the LFO to this and see what effect it does. So that's LFO 1, right? Let's assign LFO 2. LFO 2. Yeah? So we kind of assign it to this. So that's assigned. Turn that off. And you can play the key. Make it go as fast or slow. Basically, it's just like me doing that, but it's doing it automatically for you. Make whatever sound you like, and the depth of it. So you could really shape sound like that. Now, don't forget we also have oscillator 1. So if you mix this sound that we've just created from oscillator 2 into oscillator 1, you can choose how much of it to mix in. So basically I'm giving you an extreme example here. You know, making oscillator 2 really wacky, making oscillator 1, you know, quite smooth. And making use of the LFOs on each of them. The third LFO here, you can actually assign it to the mix one. So let's do that. So you have shift here. LFO3 and put it into a mode where it's assign mode. Now you take the shift off, then you press mix. Now you can see LFO3 oscillation mix. So it's basically someone just turning it back and forth like that. It's a bit finicky, this bit, because you have to kind of make it still feel like Okay, fine. Select LFO3, take it off. Right, so we've made use of the three low frequency oscillators, right? LFO1, we've assigned it to A1 parameter for algorithm 1. LFO2, we've assigned it to B, algorithm 2B parameter. And LFO3, we've assigned it to the mix, the crossfade between the two. So it's just created like a crazy sort of sound here. Let's now do the effects. Now then, we have our sound here. Let's add some effects to this. So let's go into FX1. There's none yet. So what we do is we select the type of effects using this. So you chorus, phaser. Actually, let's do a chorus. So you click it. You press it once you've selected it. Now then, you can choose here the parameters of each of the effects are these 4 dials. You can choose the level of the effects here. You can choose the other parameters. The wet dry mix, how much of the effect is in the mix. The mod depth. Right, so we've done FX1. Now let's move on to FX2 here. We're layering on, so we've done a phaser effect on it. Now we're layering another effect on this. So let's select effect 2 here. So we cannot do chorus because we've already done it. Let's do a phaser. Now then, that's the same thing except for it's FX2 is selected now. So all the parameters, wet dry mix, how much of it you want. So FX3 here, we just select which type. Can I do chorus? Can I do phaser? We've already done them. Let's do tremolo. It's quite extreme. So you have there, and then you've got 3 effects there. You can do arpeggios if you like. You can do, so forth. There's a lot you can do with these sounds. So we've basically created a patch using all this. Sounds a bit crazy. That was intentional. It's not something I would use personally. Just to show, just to demonstrate on how I do this and how to make all these. Let's do one. Let me show you. I want to show you the arpeggio. So let's kind of take with the craziness of this. I might actually start again. If you wish to just erase it, just keep your finger on initialize. So patch initialized. So you're back to this thing now, which has no effects, no oscillations, no anything. So let's begin again. I'm going to use an LFO on that. So let's select LFO1 here, and you assign this. Choose the depth. You can do it as fast as you want, or as deep as you want. Now with the ASDR, you can, the envelope generator. Going back to here, I'm going to do it a bit of a pluckier sound, but not too much. You see, it's shaped the sound now. You're just sculpting. You're sculpting the sound using all this. And once you know how to do it, it's actually a lot of fun. So that sounds nice. I'm gonna do a very similar thing to Oscillator 2, and like a different rate of like oscillation, low LFO, just to kind of like give it a bit of a dynamic feel to it. Actually, I want to keep it like this. You don't need an LFO on this. So Oscillator 2, we've created this sound. Let's mix it in the 1. Low pass filter. Now the resonance. You can morph. really give the sound a lot of character here. So you have cutoff, then you kind of go into resonance, morph. I mean, you've got these here. The cutoff, resonant, morph. The controls are here, but you can also do them in the menu as well. But the type, you can select the type of, so resonance low pass, balanced low pass, balanced high pass, balanced phase, and you can select between those. So if you press a key, let's do balanced phase. You look, and that's what it looks like. So you can increase the resonance here, and then just morph, create almost a notch filter here. You can just create whatever feel you want using this. Actually, you can assign an LFO to this. Let's do that. So LFO to assign mode. Now let's assign it to this. So that's basically just making this go back and forth. So we've assigned that. Click that off again. You can adjust the rate. That's how quick you're turning that cutoff back and forth. Okay, so we have created this sound here. Quite an interesting sound. Let's take it an octave higher. Ooh, that sounds really nice. I think I'm gonna save that. You can leave it as it is if you like the sound of it, or you can just add some effects to it like we did earlier on, and you can even add an arpeggio to it. Now, to add an arpeggio to this, actually no, I want to save this first. Okay, to save this now, go to patch, you have your 3/2, the patch there. You want to select save patch, and then this. Now let's get another name, you just, so that's the space, the cursor. Then you have that. What's your name? So let's call this. It's actually quicker. Once you get used to it, it's quicker than you'd think. ID. Right. Yeah. Now you just confirm, save, saved. Now you see here the arpeggiator dial. This here is the arpeggio or arpeggiator section. We have our plucky sound here, or short sound. Now then, you see here, arpeggiator status, and you click this, and then you go into, that's the division, that's how quick you want it. So just pressing a key, that's for 1 octave. Now let's change the octave to 2 octaves. Change it to 3 octaves. Yeah. Go to 4 octaves. So that's pendulum movement. Now if you change the direction, so forward, backward, so it plays it back, yeah. Pendulum, obviously we've done that. Shuffle. Okay, now random is. So I think shuffle at least has some sequence, whereas random is totally random. Now let's see what N forward means. I'm kind of curious about that. I'm not sure what N is. The basic pendulum, but you can actually program your own. Yeah, let's do pendulum, and let's take it 1 octave because it's going to be a bit crazy. So we have this. So to program it, all you do is you press and keep hold of ARP. You just programmed it. It's that easy. You can actually program it for, I think, up to 61 steps, 64 steps, something like this. You can do quite a lot. Let's do another one. So if you press that now. Now if you, the release is it's the release that actually makes a difference to the arpeggio. So if you actually have if you increase the release, then you press arpeggio, then you'll hear the that's the release. Yeah, it's starting to become my favorite thing. I'm starting to fall in love with this. As you can see, you can sequence as well, so you can, you can record your own and then just like record over it and so forth. But as in like record other, sequencer basically. So you can even do all that on it. But yeah, I'm starting to really fall for this Modal Cobalt 8. And there's a few quirks about it, of course. It has a really nice joystick here, which you can actually assign to anything you like on here, just like you can, so it's like, I need to figure out how to do that still, because I haven't messed with the joystick so much other than the trend. But yeah, now you can see why, I've been waiting for this. And I wish to say thank you a lot for supporting my album. You know that my next album is going to have a flavor of the Cobalt 8 in there now, and the creativity has like expanded a bit now. Of course, this will be good for sampling on both the Amiga and the Polygon tracker. Okay, so the things I love about this and the things I don't like about it. Actually, there's not that much that I do not like about it. First of all, I have to say, the actual keyboard itself, it's the best keyboard that I've ever played. It's really nice, it feels amazing. And, it's just full-size keys that feel this good. Again, I don't think it tops everything that every synth, every keyboard out there that I've actually played on. It almost feels piano-like. So you install the Modal app here, and the first thing it will say, it'll come up with this screen and say, please connect the Modal device. So what you do is you connect, obviously your Cobalt 8 to the USB. All of a sudden pop comes this screen. And you'll notice that it's got everything that it has on the menus over there. Now if your firmware needs updating, it will just inform you straight away and then just offer the update there. So you just press OK and it'll start to update, and you just don't disconnect anything, let it do its thing, and so forth. Now once it's done, it updates to 1.2 at the moment. You will notice all these screens here. So you get the preset manager here, these are all your presets. You get the modulation, FX, sequencer here as well. Everything that already exists here, you can control all this stuff here. However, it elaborates more, and it's just, it's easier to deal with. So you can actually install this on Windows or Mac OS, even your Android devices and even iOS, so it's got support for that. I hope to have support for Linux in future, because I'm using Linux. I have to boot into the OS X on this computer, which I rarely use now. So it's actually much easier than using that diddly little screen. But of course, it's a standalone thing, so this is only when you're at a computer you can use this. It's good that it's got a screen. It'd be nice if it was a little bigger, but it's got a screen, that's good. So as you can see over here, firmware version 1.2, and there's a button check for updates. Now you may be intimidated by all this when you initially just take it out the box. Have patience with yourself, have patience with the Cobalt 8. So one thing I love about this is the actual look of it. That blue is gorgeous. One thing I don't like about it is that it's hard to capture on camera. You know, it's just, oh, I'm struggling. I'm trying to capture the beauty of this. It's bluer than it looks there. Though when the sun was hitting it, you know, as you can see there, it's much bluer there. It just has this finish on it, and it's actually beautiful in real life. The camera doesn't do it justice. Just like my blue Amiga, it just looks flat when you put it on camera. But in real life, it's beautiful. The color is dynamic. Right, so I'm going to connect this now directly to your ears so you get to hear the beauty of this thing. Yeah, I think my fingers need to adjust. They become accustomed to the tiddly keys of the Yamaha Reface CS and DX. So yeah, practice needed for these full-sized keys. Now one thing I want to mention here is that, you know, since I have the Cobalt 8 now, I am not going to be ditching the Reface CS, simply because this is still, I still love this synth. You know, you can pick it up, you can just like quickly make a waveform, a sample, and so forth. Now this one, you go into it and you just create something at another level. This is actually an extended virtual analog synthesizer. So this is like the first step of it. This takes it further. But the point I'm trying to make here is that each of these, both of these, are valid in my music setup. That's basically what I'm trying to say here. Thanks so much to all my patrons for supporting my channel. Especially to you very kind top-tier supporters of mine who deserve an extra special thanks. Rich Garbett, Electronscape, Axel Dominator, Aaron Metcalf, Corey Ostman, Mark Bosak, Starlight Minako, and Chris Seblinski. Have a lovely evening everyone. Until next time, adios!